We are live. Hi, everybody. We are on day 4 of our 21-day reset. As a man thinketh, so is he. So am I. So are you. As you think and believe in your heart, so are you. And we're on week 1 of this transformative power journey of reset, start beginning our new year. This happens to be 2025 that we're recording, and we're doing this journey of As Man Thinketh. And I really decided to take this journey on for myself. I do a reset every year, and this is my 3rd annual live reset that I do, inviting people into from the community in to share how they reset and what they do to align their life with purpose, or to get healthy, or to create growth and vision and intention for their year ahead, because it's really important. We're not talking about New Year's resolutions. We're talking about growth. We're talking about personal development, and really giving our dream, giving our vision, everything of us, what we feel we're purposed or called, or believe that there's more in our life for. And the more in our life that we have doesn't just happen. And we can have life just happen to us, but that's not living an intentional life. That's not living a purpose life. When we're talking about living a purpose life, we have an idea. We have something that we're pursuing, that we know, like, that's been with us from the very beginning, the seed of our life, or passed down through generations, that we feel, hey, how you doing on day 4? Welcome. That we feel, like there's been a series of events in our life that have, led us into a process, that led us into a journey, and led us to have, examples or truths or testimonies or beliefs or skills, businesses, whatever it may be, solutions that we've been developing, and we have the skills for, that we want to contribute to others, or make a difference to others, or improve our life. And so that's the more that we're talking about, that doesn't just happen in a calendar year. And so many of us get caught up in being transactional, getting caught up in the tax season year of certain things have to be done within this certain time frame. And it's so good to have goals. I love to do purpose, vision, goals workshop with people, but it's in a different process. Our goals is not about hitting marks and hitting achievements. It's more about growth in the progression of who you're becoming, why you're doing what you're doing, who you're doing it for, and why does that matter. And so that's what this study, As Man Thinketh, is in line with, is that purpose. It's like living that life of purpose, living a life of intentionality, growing into the person that you desire to grow into, whether you're a CEO, a director. I'm saying CEO, director. I had interviews this afternoon with the town council. They're going through the process of hiring a new administrative assistant. So it was interesting to sit this afternoon and listening to the people being interviewed that could possibly be serving us over the next couple of years. And it was interesting as I'm doing this study, and I'm thinking about the questions being asked and the delivery of the presentation, and watching, the contestants giving their presentation, talking. I'm studying and I'm listening, and I'm thinking about, ideas of questions that I want to ask, and how I want to ask them, and how others are asking. And so I'm going through this, whole watch and learn of human nature and behavior, even more so as we're in this focused journey. So for 21-day reset, we're doing an inward study of how we believe, what we believe, why we believe what we believe, right? And how are we response? Where's our awareness at in the times of our life? And so I don't know, with your reset and what it is that you want to grow in, you have an idea. Hopefully by day 4, you've come up with an idea of an area of your life that you would like to grow in. Whether it's your financial freedom, it's your physical health and well-being, it's your spiritual growth of how you can draw closer to God, or even draw closer to yourself, and causing yourself to get slow, and you slow down, and to just, be silent and to be open to, listening to your own thoughts. Even that could be, a spiritual journey that you want to grow in, and or study study a topic that has to do with you learning about your religion or your faith, or whatever that may be, or your primary relationships. You want to get stronger and closer to the people that are most closest to you, and feeling like you're a strong contributor to a relationship, or what that relationship looks like. And maybe there's that growth in your career, your career choice of what you've chosen, or that you're choosing, or you're looking forward to going into. Maybe it's a new journey that you're going into, a new career, and you're thinking about how you want to grow into that, who you want to surround yourself with. So everything starts with an idea and a thought, right? And sometimes it can be complex, and sometimes it can be, minimal. Whatever it is for you is perfect. Whatever season you're in, whatever you're looking forward to for 2025 is absolutely perfect. And this is your own journey. Some of the ways that I get quiet and still on my January reset is the way that I eat, that I consume, getting my vitality. I focus in on, being healthier in January. We've eaten a lot of sugars, a lot of extra food, and sauces and cheese and wine, and all those wonderful things that we really enjoy having when we're getting together with family and friends and in events. I'm in council, so there's lots of events. I did a lot of traveling this past month, so it was out of order, out of regime, out of my regular routine. So I'm really excited to get back into a routine, but I'm thinking about, what will this new routine look like for me as I'm aligning myself to the growth that I'm wanting to produce? And so some of the ways that I get into that is I'm cutting out sugar, right? I cut out sugar, cold turkey, drinking lots of water, getting lots of sleep, still working out, but you have to be mindful if you're doing fasting. So I fast through the day. Now for you, it might be different. Maybe you'll choose one meal a day to fast from. Maybe it'll be 2 meals a day that you choose to fast from, or it's a whole day, or you do some intermittent fasting, or you're doing strictly water for a period of time before you eat. I don't know. It could be, do what is right for you and healthy and safe for you. Like if you have, diabetes or different health ailments, be very cautionary about what you do as fasting. So this is your journey. This is your reset, and you choose what it is. But I really want to encourage you and invite you into that place of sacrifice, that laying down the weaker things, laying down those, I say weaker things that we may depend on, that become part of our routine that we don't even realize. Maybe you want to go on a media fast. Maybe you want to cut offline. I have cousins that, say, Grace, can you send me the videos? Can you send me the transcripts through another platform? Because we're going off media for the month. So we can't watch you and listen to you because we're not going to be on media. So maybe you're going off media. And if you do, send me a message and I'll send you the transcripts and the videos so that you can follow along. And that's a great idea of getting quiet. So whatever it may be, everybody's talking about dry January. That's become something very common. But it's healthy. It's good to let go of the lesser things that maybe become too comfortable, became too common, came too repetitive, that you're like, I need to cut down on the sugar. I need to cut down on whatever that is. But whatever it helps you to have a clearer mind and to cause you to direct your thoughts and your focus in on what it is that you really, really want. So during that fasting period, you want to make sure that you're not just fasting. You're not just removing something out of your life and not filling it, because that's what happens, is that when we want to get rid of a habit, we're going to fill it with something else, right? It's quite funny. You can't really get rid of a habit. You need to exchange it for something else, because that thing that's bringing you comfort, that's bringing you fulfillment, it's filling yourself with something, whether it's anxiety or anxiousness or fear or the unknown, excitement, anticipation. Sometimes we get to be like emotional eaters, when you're, for me, prior to I did a health reset. So I went through a really amazing health program that I lost a lot of weight, but it really changed the way I think, the way I think about food, my habits and everything. It was a 4-month period that I went through that. And prior to, I used to emotionally eat in the fact of when I was thinking about something. Like when I would be like really focused on something, I would find I liked nuts. I liked to crunch on nuts. I liked something that like was salty, that I could crunch on, that I could really concentrate on. So I used to have a thing for nuts even before that, actually. And I did an NLP and got rid of it because it was something that I had a hard time removing. But that's for another story. But we can't just quit something cold turkey without replacing it. And so this is the time when we're replacing it with a study. As a man thinketh, study, the idea of thoughts, where we're directing our thoughts. How do we align our mind, our will, and our emotions, our mind, our body, and our spirit, because we're intellectual beings, right? God gave us an intellectual mind. He blessed us with an intellectual mind. And guess what? God will never change your mind. He's not going to manipulate. He's not going to force. He's not going to control you to change your mind. He doesn't do that. He's a good God and it's free will. And so there's no manipulation. It's like at your own free will, you get to choose how you receive information or reject information. That is absolutely for yours to do. But in this journey, we're opening ourselves to awareness, to shifting our perception, being open to having a look at ourselves, examining. It says for us to examine our own heart. And so when we allow ourselves to make a shift in our mind, in our thinking, and we make place for an opening of our hearts, understanding about ourselves and how we want to grow and what we want to do to grow, then hey, hello, welcome. Then we're open for change. Then God can work on us. I believe, and what you believe is what you believe in. So take what I share at your own guise, whatever you want to do. But this lesson really is about this. I'm just trying to pick up my notes here. This lesson really is about awareness and building your own self-awareness. So be open to some ideas, take account. And while you're fasting, or when you're taking time that, you would fill yourself with food or with media or with even exercise. Some people exercise more to fill areas, and those are good things. But when we're setting aside these areas and laying it down, take it to study. If you're a believer, then read your Bible, anchor into truth that is life-giving to you. This study, As a Man Thinketh, I want to encourage you to get it on Amazon. It'll come in the next day, and it's a real small book, but it's so powerful to what we're talking about. And we're only on day 4, so go ahead and get that book, get it on your lap. You won't be sorry. That's for sure. So day 4, we're talking about thought and character. How our character is truly the outward expression of our inner thoughts. In Romans 12:2, it says, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind." So again, I said, God has given us, and I believe that we're made in his image, and because we are made in his image, we have similar characteristics of God, right? But we're not God. So therefore we have to go through a transition, because we live on earth and there's lots of brokenness and we're exposed to lots of different things, and everybody has different world maps, and different world maps and ideas and perceptions and beliefs and everything gets merged together. And so no longer do we have the mind of God. We have a mixture of a lot of things. And so there's this pursuit of just being open to and being willing to that mind being transformed. And how we get transformed is through these different levels of awareness. In the book of character, in the first chapter of thought and character, it says, Man can find every truth, not some truth, not partial truth, but man can find every truth connected with his being. If, and that's always a big if, because it always is it's your decision. If he will dig deep into the mind of his own soul. Let me give that to you again. Man can find every truth connected with his being if he will dig deep into the mind of his own soul. In the mind of his own soul. He is the maker of his character, the molder of his life, the builder of his destiny. So you are the maker. And I spoke about that, I think, yesterday and reflecting on it for myself. I'm doing this study for myself. The previous couple of years, I had different people coming on and sharing about what they were doing and what they were about and how they, reset. It was a lot of fun. But I really wanted to share how I go through this process of building my own self-awareness. And, it takes vulnerability and openness. So I want to be open and vulnerable with you to help you, to guide you for your own awareness. And learning awareness is not about judgment. When we're at the basic level of awareness, which is animal awareness, we're in a reactive state and we are really protective against our emotions. And you'll find people that are they're not very self-aware, right? And so when they get upset, they show it. They respond and they yell out, right? Or they give a snide remark, or they're sarcastic because they're really insecure about a situation and not very self-aware or really even concerned about what other people may think. And, at that level, they carry that emotion of guilt and hatred or frustration, and they don't really know what to do with it. And then their tendency would be to, hide from life. They get upset, they feel rejected, they want to shut down. And so they reframe and they move back from, other people, and they go into hiding. And they really see themselves, they have a really typically a low self-esteem about themselves, and the feeling that they have about themselves or how they see themselves is hopeless, like not much to them. Like they really don't have a lot of self-regard. And, I was thinking about, when I was a kid and how I responded in situations under pressure. It was because obviously I didn't care much about other people. And we have a wrong view about even how we see God, how God sees us. And so that's the main level. But we're going to go through 7 levels, but it's not about how we get from here to there, because that stumps us, right? I want us to flip over the coin and saying, we were made in God's image. Like we were perfectly and wonderfully, fearfully made. It says, you were fearfully and wonderfully made, and my works are wonderful. You say, your works are wonderful, God. I always spoke this over my kids. I say, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. His works are wonderful for your life. And so for us to even say that, I'm fearfully and I'm wonderfully made, and God's works are wonderful for my life. And when we're going to go over that next week about how we change our words, we shift them into a proclamation, into a declaration, to take those negative thoughts and make them into a positive thought. But right now, this week, it's just recognizing where we're at in our awareness of how we respond and how we handle different scenarios. So in this study of the thought and character, being honest with myself, that I need to watch and control my thoughts. It says here that being honest with thyself, to watch, control, alter his thoughts, tracing their effects upon himself, upon others, life and circumstances. Because our character is the outward expression of what we believe and how we see things and how we respond. And so we need to be honest with how we respond and where we're at. So we're in that animal response, or that animal awareness. We're not really thinking about other people. We're really thinking about ourselves, and we're in that really protective mode of life. But if I want, think about this, the cause and effect. Are you living in the place of effect, Or are you living in a place of cause? If you're in a place of cause, then you're being intentional. You're being more intentional about what that outward expression is, how it's going to affect the outside world, what it's going to affect the people around you, or even affect your life in the way that you respond. The next level of awareness, just one up from the animal, is really that individual expression. And your tendency, it's the tendency of, if you don't feel confident, you don't feel assured about it, you quit very easily. Like, you don't want to be seen as not knowing, and you don't want people to think that you don't know, and you're not willing to take much risk because you're afraid of looking bad. And your emotion is really apathetic and grief. Like, you're really affected easily by what people say, or they respond to you. And, you take it to heart. You take it like really personally. And your tendency is really to roll over, and you either roll over or you cry for help. There's no sourcing for yourself. You don't go and investigating for things. You want to ask people to give you the answer, right? You don't want to look stupid. You don't want to take really the time. And so you're looking for help, for people to help you in every area, instead of investigating and learning for yourself. And it's still carrying on to this personal attitude of seeing yourself as helpless. Like, I don't know where to find the information. And so you just immediately ask the person without even going and looking for yourself. And in today's world, we don't have to go very far. ChatGPT helps me with an answer. So I don't really need to reach out and ask people for questions immediately until I really can't find the answers. But operating at this level of awareness, we just automatically do that. And we don't live with the understanding of how much God cares for you. Instead, at this level of awareness, we believe that God doesn't care about me. Like, he's too big, he's too busy with, I don't even believe that the world I don't even know if God really even exists, because I don't really see how he cares for me. Or, he's got lots of things to do with his life that he doesn't need to be thinking about me. Instead of us realizing that God is in me, that God is in me, he's in everyone, and we carry God with us when we choose to believe, when we choose to accept the understanding that we are creation, like we are his creation, made in his image, made for his pleasure, made for relationship. And so as we open ourselves to that understanding, then we get, we have a desire to know him and his character, and how we need to alter our beliefs and our character in order to draw closer. It says to draw closer to him, and he will draw closer to us, not because we're not worthy, not because he doesn't want us, not because he thinks like we're low grade. No, he made us fearfully and wonderfully, but it's our choice in what we want to choose to believe. It really is our choice. If we're going to choose to believe at the bottom pit and be these reactionaries and be hopeless and be helpless and not being worth anything, we can choose that if we want to. Or we can step into a place of, I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and the works are so good. So I want to discover the works. I want to grow into those works. I want to, welcome life to happen through me and not to me, and just being that response of what takes place in that. And then the next level is, you want to step out and you want to be expressive and you want to learn, but you're still like really nervous, and there's a worrier mentality, and your emotion is, you have an angstful craving, and your tendency is to be fearful, and you ask a lot of questions before making decisions. Like, you don't want to be wrong. You want to take from the world more than give to the world, because you're still living in like a scarcity mindset, a scarcity belief that not everything is open to you. And you see God as sabotaging you instead of being generous. And that ability, you're in that achievement mode of never being good enough. There's never enough. You're not good enough. You can't do enough. And you just kind of go through transaction to transaction. You're like seeking, and never finding, really not really believing that you're going to find the answers, because God sabotages you. And this is, This is an area where many of us, and we can go to any of these levels at any given time because we're talking about human beings and our carnal nature and whatever background we're in or what, has happened in our life can cause us to respond in different situations. But the more we become aware and more that we're willing to dig in to the soul, into our soul, into the mind of our soul, then we begin to discover. And so what I discovered is that, the more I do go into this of understanding, am I living in the effect side of my life or the cause of my life? Am I living in the cause and then I'm getting the effect, or I'm just living like life happens to me and I'm part of that effect? And it says that by patient practice and investigation, we obtain knowledge of ourselves with understanding, wisdom, and power. I don't know about you, but I want to be one that has an understanding myself, understanding of others, open to ideas, and through that, I know that I gain wisdom, by having an understanding of wanting to draw closer to God, altering myself, altering my mind, altering my heart, in order to be open to what God and his entire universe has for my life. It says, ask, seek, and find. And so one of the things that I discovered, and we'll go through the different layers of awareness more so, but one of the things when I was writing yesterday, it says everyone's, about my personality, my character. Some, people will say how gracious and patient I am. And so these are my personal notes. I'm just sharing my personal scribbles here on the page as I go through this awareness. And just to give an example, it said last night I read, everyone says how gracious and patient I am. Like my friends will say, you're so gracious. And I am, because going on this personal development journey and mentoring and coaching people and being on teams and seeing how they relate or they don't relate, and all the talk going back and forth, and the willingness to accept and take responsibility from the top down to the, through the flow of teams and organizations, whether it be churches and townships, municipalities, or teams of, real estate or insurance, whatever it is, there's this complication that takes place through communication. And it's through looking at yourself, looking at where you are in the midst of all of this. I get people saying, said that I'm so patient. And then I'll get some others that'll say, that I'm so hard on myself that I become hard on others. And I'm like, okay, so both ways. I can be super, super patient, super, super gracious. And then other times I can be super hard on myself and then super hard on other people. And so I'm examining this, my awareness, where is it that this happens, that I'm so hard on myself that I'm hard on others? And so I continued to write, and you want to have your book going through this and journaling. It says, I wrote down, I have this defender reconciler attitude. I really do. I believe in truth and reconciliation, but I take on the reconciliation of myself. I want to listen with patience and kindness of where people are at. And then if something twerks me in my level of awareness, if something triggers me where I have something that I haven't dealt with, of a hurt or a bitterness or a root, or, something of the past or the present that I am carrying, I will be sucked into that situation where that person is feeling hurt and, not being heard or whatever. And I'll, I have to protect myself, right? Of not going to that place, because I love to defend. I like to reconcile. I like to try to go into those places. But it's not my responsibility. As I wrote down, I don't want to do this, be that reconciler, that defender attitude of trying to make wrongs right, that it's not mine to make. I can't fix everybody's problems and relationships and situations, but I can bring powerful questions. I can bring powerful, mentorship into a situation that would help direct and guide what they need to do in their own timing, and really understand that, it's God that leads people to repentance. It really is God himself, the Spirit of God that's in us, that when we welcome that change, when we welcome to alter our thoughts and our mind, that's when that softening happens. That's when, things take place, not because of me. So by patient practice and investigation, I ask myself these powerful questions. I invest time in asking. Ask, seek, and find. And so again, this week we're talking about the mind. We're talking about really examining our thoughts and where our thoughts are. And it's not a matter of just flipping it over into a positive attitude, a positive belief. We are doing that. We're going to get there next week. But this week, I just want us to examine our thoughts, to open up the levels of awareness. And the levels of awareness is not about judgment. It's about awareness and how we can alter, make adjustments, where we need to clean some areas out. Yesterday I talked about, if we have bitter roots, we have unforgiveness, to take some time to think about those, of how we can communicate, how we can connect, how we can, do things that we're not carrying forward that's going to affect our growth. And it's by these patient and investigative questions that we're asking ourselves about this. And don't be afraid to ask these questions. Don't be afraid to ask these questions about yourselves, because this is the journey that we're on, friends. And it's people that stay in that lower level of awareness where they take more than they give out into the world because they're not willing to go deep. They're not willing to go to the mine of their soul. What did I say at the beginning? I said, man can find every truth. You can find every truth connected with your being if you will dig deep into the mine of the soul. Mine is like, you got to go mining for diamonds and gold. It talks about in the book about digging for diamonds and gold. You have to chip away, and you have to investigate where those places are. And so in my 21-day reset of just self-examining some things, I'm finding, I need to ask these questions. And so a great way of asking questions is, how do I feel about this situation? With this person, what happened? What happened that, it went wrong? Where was it that, you started to get this responsiveness that you feel like you need to defend and make right? Where in your life, Grace, did that start to take form for you? And so I ask these questions. So, I just kind of go through the how, what, why, and when, and start making notes. And so I came down to, again, I don't need to help make a wrong right. I help guide people into and towards their own outcome of what it is that they really want. I can't convince somebody that they're wrong. Who can convince you that you're wrong? And how do you like that when somebody tries to tell you how wrong you are? I know my husband doesn't like it when I do that to him, and I certainly don't like it when he does it to me. So being married for 31 years, we're learning how, to come alongside each other and to bring awareness to a circumstance instead of making each other feel lesser than one another. That lower level, we want to make ourselves feel like we're better than the other people. I know more because I have this relationship with God, or because I know this, because I'm this educated, because I've been in this experience. I know more than you, so you should listen to me. That's not being relational. That's not being kind. That's not leading people into a way of change by behaving that. But I have that righteous personality that I need to, tender. When I'm really gracious, I'm really gracious. When I feel like there's a wrong being done to people, I can, change that. But I'm working on that. That's my growth, and that's where I'm in. So, all right. Well, we dug a little bit deeper into that thought and character because it's really, really important. And we're going to continue on with that, being Monday and having to go really, really deep with this. But let's ask ourselves those good questions, right? As we're fasting, as we're praying, as we're taking time. I got up at 4:45. I had a prayer call that I do with municipal leaders. And so I wanted to get to the gym first before getting on with them. And so I got up and I went to the gym, came back, and it felt so good to be in that routine again of order and just spending time. So I've been, when I'm not eating, spending time praying and making notes and thinking about the study, about where my thoughts are and what I want to do for real estate ahead, and serving my clients and how I can do the best job, or working alongside my sister as we work together, or how I'm going to serve in the community, the residents of Newmarket. And so I'm spending time, instead of filling my face with food or sugar or anything else that can numbs those thoughts, I'm, resisting those so that I can spend a little bit more time about ordering myself up in these areas that I serve in the different places of my life, and also where I want to grow with my relationships, and all of that together. It's so good. And this is what it's all about. And that's why you are here with me. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And we'll see you again on day 5. I hope you're getting excited. I hope this is helping. Let me know. And we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.